Hi everybody, Paul here. In this video I'm going to show you why a toilet makes noise when it's not being used and how to fix it. This can either be a continual noise or a noise that comes and goes. No matter what's causing the noise, it's always caused by something inside the water tank, and it's always caused by running water. To gain access to the inside of the water tank, simply lift the tank lid straight up. I apologize for the way the tank looks on the inside. I had a problem with my water softener years ago and it got stained. I drained the water that was inside the tank for demonstration purposes. The first thing that can cause noise when a toilet is not being used is called a fill valve, which is located here. The job of the fill valve is to fill the tank back up with water after the toilet's been flushed. It's perfectly normal for the fill valve to make noise when it's filling the tank. All fill valves use some type of float. This particular fill valve has the float attached directly to it. Older style fill valves like the one in this picture use a metal rod arm with a ball float attached to the end. The fill valve float should be adjusted so that the water in the tank remains at least a ½ inch below the top of this overflow pipe. The overflow pipe prevents the tank from accidentally overfilling. The float height on this particular fill valve is made with an adjustment knob located here. Turn it clockwise to raise the water level or turn it counterclockwise to lower the water level. On older style fill valves like the one in this picture, simply bend the metal rod arm down to lower the water level or bend the metal rod arm up to raise the water level. If the tank will not fill to the proper level, or if it overfills and goes down the overflow pipe, then this is a sign that the fill valve may be faulty, which will cause a continual noise or a noise that comes and goes. At the end of this video, you can click on another video which will show you how to replace a fill valve. I'll also post it in the description. The last thing that can cause noise when a toilet is not being used is called a flush valve, which is located on the bottom of the tank here. The flush valve has two jobs. The first job is to prevent the water in the tank from going down the flush valve opening when it's not being used. The second job is to allow the water in the tank to go down the flush valve opening when the toilet is flushed. There are two different types of flush valves. The first type is called a flapper valve, which is what I have here. This opens and closes the flush valve opening with a pivoting movement when the flush handle is operated. The other type of valve is called a flush valve like the ones in this picture, which come in all different shapes and sizes. This opens and closes the flush valve opening with a straight up and down movement when the flush handle is operated. A huge caveat to remember is no matter which type of flush valve you have, if it does not properly seal the flush valve opening, then the water in the tank will go down, which will then cause the fill valve to turn on, which will then cause the toilet to make noise when it's not being used. Depending on how bad the flush valve opening is leaking will determine if the fill valve runs continually or turns on and off at various times when the toilet is not being used. The first thing that can cause a flush valve to leak is when the flush valve opening is not clean. Make sure the opening is clean so that the flush valve can seal properly against it. Just use a sponge and some cleaner. The second thing that can cause a flush valve to leak is when the flush valve is not clean. Make sure the flush valve is clean so that the flush valve can seal properly against the flush valve opening. Again, just use a sponge with some cleaner. The third thing that can cause a flush valve to leak is improper adjustment of the flush valve, which will not allow it to seal properly against the flush valve opening. As in my case here, I have a flush valve chain which has just a little bit of slack in it so that it can seal properly. The fourth thing that can cause a flush valve to leak is when the chain on a flapper valve becomes tangled and prevents the flapper valve from sealing properly against the flush valve opening. When this happens, simply untangle the chain so that it returns back to normal. The fifth and last thing that can cause a flush valve to leak is when the flush valve becomes old and worn out and can no longer maintain a proper seal against the flush valve opening and needs to be replaced. You can find in my other videos how to replace a flush valve. I'll also post it in the description. I hope you found this helpful, and if you liked this video, please hit the like button below, share it with your friends, and please be sure to subscribe. God bless you and have a great day. Bye for now.